All right, we are back, people. Who's ready? Who's ready for the next session? Who's here with me? Earlier on, we just did some giveaways. Maybe we'll do some more. So excited for this. Braden, I'm excited for this as well. Kelly, she said, Kelly, you're from Michigan. I hope the snow has melted and you're ready for the summer there. Chicagoland, nice. I love Chicago. Great stuff. Jocelyn, that's an amazing gift. For everyone out there, I love these gifts that they're being shown up. So continue to do that. Hey, it's the hat guy again. Emily, you know it. Who else but the hat guy? Howdy from Arizona. Nice. Welcome, everyone. This is awesome. Also, shout out Auctria. It's an easy-to-use, powerful tool to run your fundraising events. Auctria runs all types of events and auction fundraisers, from the first donation to the last receipt. All the activity and bidding in between. Auctria makes it easy. You can use Auctria to raise money, to raise awareness, brand the website, use images and video, tell your story, and so much more. And get better understanding of Auctria. Choose a plan close to fundraisers. Comprehensive guide, real examples, and practical tips from industry experts. And I'm so excited to introduce our next speakers. So we have Lori, who's joining us here in a second, who has a passion of helping groups exceed their fundraising goals after using Auctria for many auction fundraisers. She joined a team to help others boost their auction fundraising for many wonderful causes. Auctria has been utilized in over 50,000 event fundraisers, raising over 1 billion. Is that a B billion? That is a billion. I had to count the zeros just to double check. 1 billion. That is amazing. And then we also have Ghazala, who started at GFS events in 2012 because she knew that the nonprofits needed help through her own nonprofit board and volunteer experience. GFS events provides strategic event planning expertise to nonprofits through focused event strategy, logistics, coordination, mission messaging, and audience and donor development. Over the last 12 years, her team has helped countless nonprofits raise millions of dollars throughout the Pacific Northwest and across the country. GFS has received numerous awards for Best Nonprofit Event and Best Public Event through International Live Events Association. So this session is going to be amazing. If these two amazing, wonderful ladies want to come join us on stage, we are so excited for this next session. And everyone here in the chat, let's give them a round of applause. Let's see some gifts, some emojis. And Al, we're ready for them to jump on the stage. All right, well, while we wait, there we go. Awesome, Lori's on, and perfect. Welcome. This is so exciting.
Hello, hi.
How's it going?
It's
Great.
Awesome. We are both so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation and sharing your webinar stage with us.
Of course. Well, you all enjoy, and we'll see you all in a little bit.
Can you just give me a thumbs up if my audio's okay out there? Everybody in the chat, thumbs up. Oh, there we go. Ghazala, you want to give a shout out? Make sure your audio's okay?
Yeah, lots of thumbs up. Hopefully you all can hear me as well. Great. Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Lori. I'm here from Auctria, and Auctria is a proud sponsor of the Nonprofit Marketing Summit. We appreciate Ernie, Alan, the entire Candace, Princey, the entire team for putting on the Nonprofit Marketing Summit, because we will also believe in bringing tools for event and auction fundraising technology and materials to all size organizations and all size events. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, and we want to make this interactive. Go ahead and drop questions. Go ahead and drop your comments. Ghazala from GFS.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I want to thank Lori, first of all, for inviting me to share the stage with her. My name is Ghazala. I am from GFS Events, and I am so excited to be with you all today. Today, we're going to be bringing you event fundraisers that shine, raising more than money, strategies to ignite giving and create impact and a meaningful connection. Whether you are producing a first-time event or have been doing fundraisers for years, we have some tips and tricks for you on how to make your events shine. We're going to give you some real advice with real examples that you can implement hopefully right away.
Awesome. And here's a little more background information so that you get to know us a little bit better. We're really nice people and we love to hang out with you. So for myself, Auctria's mission is to empower nonprofit organizations by providing you with affordable and easy, useful tools. But it's not just about the software, it's about us as well. We have been volunteering in our communities. We have been using this software. We have been working together for quite a long time. This presentation, as well as our software, is designed for all size groups, all size organizations, galas, auctions, tickets, tournaments. We're bringing you lots of information on how to support your nonprofit organizations, find affordable and transparent solutions, and we're always innovating. Auctria's real vision is stronger communities together through fundraising. And we hope that a world where nonprofits, regardless of size, have access to simple and powerful technology, support, and resources. And auction and event fundraisers are popular. That's probably why you came to this session, because they accomplish two goals: raise money and raise awareness for your cause. Give me a thumbs up or put in the bottom right-hand corner what your mission is. What are you raising money for? Auctria is built for soaring bids, crushing goals, and making people aware of your cause. It's easy to use and a powerful tool. Ghazala, tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I would love to share. And I am seeing a lot of love in the chat for Auctria. We also love Auctria. Again, my name is Ghazala Radnick. I'm so excited to be presenting to you today. So a little bit about GFS Events. We are a full service event management company, and we specialize in producing successful and impactful nonprofit and only nonprofit fundraising events. I started GFS Events in 2012, and over the past 13 years, we have produced over 800 events for nonprofits, not only in the Pacific Northwest, but across the country, and we have raised millions and millions of dollars. And then just a few of the types of events that we do. So probably one of these resonates with all of you, whether you produce a gala or auction, or you're doing a benefit lunch or dinner, a walk or a run, a golf tournament, a conference, or a community event. These are all the types of events that we help our clients produce. And then services, we provide, of course, the event management services, logistics, vendor coordination. We also help with sponsorship support, and then volunteer management as well.
So we're bringing it back to you. The goal is not just fundraising. We know it's to raise spirits, raise voices, and possibilities. So this is the agenda that we're looking at today. And in this session, our goal is for you to walk away with a few strategies, some hot tips, and some golden nuggets to share, whether it be at your boardroom table or your kitchen table this evening. If you are new to event and auction fundraising, or if you've been running your own for years, we're here to share. From our perspective, we see thousands of events a year, and we will share some easy and actionable tips. We're going to start with the types of fundraisers. We're going to talk about putting a smile on your donor's face with a fun event, because fun events raise more money. We're going to get to the good stuff with event revenue boosters, honing in on sponsors, tickets, tables, sellable items, and of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some auction and revenue boosters. So go ahead and drop some questions in as we move along, drop some comments in as we move along, and we are happy to answer them. We'll also be doing a lounge afterwards so that we can continue the conversation if you like, as well as we have some little communities also on Facebook that you can continue the conversation also. So let's all start off in the same place and talk about the types of event fundraisers. And people always ask us, Laura, which one do we choose? And I don't have an exact answer for you, because every single event, every single organization is different. But I do have some questions, and I do have some pros and cons to help you decide what's best for you. So my question to you is, and go ahead and drop this in the chat, talk to me about your time and your resources. Do you have a lot of time? Not a lot of time? Do you have people in-house, volunteers? Do you have access to a larger pool of volunteers? And we love to suggest that you can also call in the pros, and that's why we brought Ghazala along, because using a professional event planner is a great use of time and money so that you can focus on the big picture and steward the donors and sponsors and focus on the rest of the work that you have going on. As we move through, I've got the strategy and the tech covered. Gazala brought along real photos from real events, showing you how to take it up a notch with lots of examples and inspiration, showing you how to make the most, the absolute most out of those valuable people, the valuable volunteers, and the time and money. And it is okay if you are a small organization or a small event. There's lots of tips that you can grab and implement on your own as well. Gazelle, is it okay if we start off talking about types of event fundraisers for in-person?
Let's go for it. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to talk about in-person events. Let's talk about the pros and the cons. So an in-person event means people are actually going somewhere, right? And with that, you can have a silent and a live auction, your fund a need. And I'm talking about a special event. People have washed their hair, they have gotten in their car, and they have driven somewhere. You have to attract guests, you have to attract the bidders. And you can do that in the form of a gala, a golf, a community event. You're going to need some lead time and planning for that. And then as part of the fundraising activities, you'll have an auction, an event, or you can add on to a currently highly attended event that you're not doing fundraising at and capitalize on that. If you do an online only auction and donation drive, your audience may be broader, which is fabulous. More people participating, the better. You can do a donation only, funding a specific need. If you're doing an auction paired up with that, you'll have to distribute the items after the auction. And always, always, always use the event to tell your story and engage your supporters. Whatever it is, this is your stage for engagement.
Let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into in-person events. And I want to talk through some pros and cons specifically. So when you're thinking about an in-person event, the pros are some of the most obvious ones where, number one, it can be really exciting to have an in-person event. There's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement when people are gathering, especially your supporters are all gathered together in one place, in one space. It's also very rewarding. You can kind of feel the energy and everyone's celebrating together in a very public way, which really, really adds to the fun of the event. And then most importantly, a lot of times, and this isn't always the case, but a lot of times in-person events generally have a higher amount that is raised than say possibly a virtual event. Now, with the pros also come some cons. And so some of the cons, and I'm seeing a lot of this in the chat, is of course, the top con is budget. So not only food costs, not only venue costs, but pretty much every cost across the board are increasing. So definitely a much higher budget when you have an in-person event. Another thing I'm seeing in the chat is logistics. You all are working very hard with a very limited bandwidth and staff. And so there are a lot of details to manage, a lot of vendor coordinations to keep track of. And so, and you need a lot of lead time. Ideally planning, we like to plan at least 1 year in advance with our clients and a minimum of 6 months in advance to really have a smooth event that we can say is going off without a hitch. But then there's also the organizational bandwidth. Are you spread too thin? I'm going to say many of you are possibly nodding or giving a thumbs up on being spread too thin or having just a one-person team. Yep, there's a thumbs up for that. And then finally, the biggest factor is will people show up? This is probably the biggest thing that our clients see is just wondering, not only will we have the right number of people in the room, but will we have the right people in the room? Will they be the ones who are giving and giving generously? So I want to share an example of an in-person event. This is the Museum of History and Industry Gala. This is from Seattle, and it's an example of an in-person event that was a very fun social gathering, and it gathered over 300 guests together. The logistical lift for this event was tremendous. We had to take over the entire museum and we coordinated with many, many vendors. You can see that from these pictures, we had a pretty great turnout and the bidding was very generous. The payoff was also very huge. We raised over $700,000 for this event.
Awesome. So that's in person. Let's go ahead and pivot a little bit and talk about an online only event. Potentially, you can reach a broad audience because it's anybody with an internet access. Good part about these, it's not only open for a couple hours in an evening, they are open 24 hours a day. And not only that, it can be open for multiple days, or I can say weeks, but I really don't want you to do for multiple weeks, probably 10 days. Grab both of those weekends as bookends. Potentially, they are less work. However, you do have your digital footprint, your website where you can show and tell your story, photos, videos, and then if you're running an auction alongside that or in that, there's a lot of pieces that you can use to increase your bids. It's a max bid, a bid extension, and people will continue to get notifications if they get outbid, bringing them back to that page. They get outbid, maybe they want to make a donation. So there's this ongoing trigger and this ongoing snowball. Bid, get outbid, come back. Bid, outbid, come back. And so you're continuing to show your story over a longer period of time. People will need to register in order to participate in that. The cons for an online only, there's no RSVPs. You don't necessarily know in advance who's going to show up. If that makes you panic, if that makes you hot and worried, you know what? It's okay. And it's okay to try it out the first time. But just know within your online events, they tend to fluctuate. It's an upside down bell curve. At the beginning of the online activity, there's a flurry of activity. A lot of people registering and donating and bidding and interacting and sharing on social media. And then it goes down. And that's when some people start to like get panicked and like, oh my gosh. And it's a reverse plateau. But you know what? As soon as it gets to the end, it shoots up and there's a lot. Look, I'm coming off the page. There's a lot of activity because now it's very time sensitive and people are participating, they are registering, they are bidding, they are donating because they want to get in before that last minute happens or that last minute activity. So it's an upside down bell curve. Be aware that that's going to happen. And that way you aren't worried about it when it does go up and down. If you're doing an online only, there's no in-person socialization. You can socialize obviously through your social media, or if you want to have something small like a kickoff, whether it's a live session online, or maybe even a little cocktail hour, gather people around for that, for a kickoff or a closeout session. And if you are doing an auction, you do need to distribute those items to the winners. They're not physically in your space, so you would need to coordinate that. But you can do all that in advance. And if you're organized and you plan that out, that's a breeze as well. Gazala was kind enough to bring along a lot of examples for each of these. Gazala, these look amazing.
Yeah, this is a really fun one. So kind of going back to some of the things that Lori talked about with an online event. This is an example of an online event where we did incorporate an online auction. It's for Hillel Community Day School located in New York, state of New York. And they wanted to infuse some creativity into their event. So we incorporated an idea for a Back to the Future theme. So you can see some of the graphics. It was really fun. And we did the graphics. We did those short video clips that Lori was talking about. And one of those video clips, by the way, did include a DeLorean, believe it or not. And we had some amazing auction items. So you can do online, you can be creative, you can do things that are outside of the box and still have fun. I'm seeing in the chat that people again are like, hey, yeah, people don't want to sit through maybe a 3-hour long gala dinner. It can get kind of boring sometimes. So thinking of through ways, thinking outside the box and touching your audience the way that they need to be reached out to is super important. At this event, auction items were a huge hit. The entire community came together. And of course, to boost, the cost for this event was significantly, I do mean significantly less than if for any of the in-person events that they have had in the past. And then I have another example. This one is also a very creative example. This is for Rebuilding Together South Sound, located in Tacoma, Washington. And you don't have to just do a virtual event with an auction. If some of you are like, oh my gosh, I'm auctioned out, it's a lot of work, you can still, this was done on Auctria as well. We did a wonderful online event where it was just straight donations. So we took out that auction component, but we wanted to infuse some fun into the event as well. So we incorporated an idea that they had done when it was an in-person event. They always did a dessert dash, which was super popular. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we created that dessert dash online. So it was a virtual dessert dash. Folks could bid on a dessert, and the highest bidder received the dessert delivered to them at a specific time. And the best part was that board members actually volunteered to do this. They volunteered their time, their energy, and of course their cars, and delivered door to door those desserts that were won. So not
They
only
knocked on the door with the dessert that you won. Did I hear that right?
Yep, absolutely. And not
Were
only
the
did it,
winners surprised?
they were very surprised. It was just a really great way to not only showcase the meaningful connection with the board members, but also just, again, do kind of that out of the box thinking and make a really fun impact on the donors for the virtual event. Because they're like, as you mentioned, Lori, you're not getting that social connection, but this was a way to do just a tiny little piece of that social connection.
Amazing. I cut you off. Was there anything else on that?
No, that's good. Yeah, I'm good. And I know we're going to go on to our next example.
That's okay. I just get so excited about your stuff. It's always incredible. So then what about doing both? Can we do in person and online bidding? Yes, you can. Do it strategically, but practice. Think through the guest experience. Visualize. What is that going to look like from day one, from the launch to the ticket sales, to the bidding, and to the engagement? You want a smooth, consistent flow of messaging with a clear purpose. Always, always, always keep your mission at the forefront. This can't be emphasized enough. People give and engage because they believe in the important work that you're doing. So your messaging should always reflect that. So here's some pros and cons to that. People need a reason to show up. If you're doing dual audiences, some of them may not come because they're like, oh, I can participate online. They do get, the ones that do come get to mingle, bid, buy, donate. You can do mobile bidding. You can do display pages so that the people inside the room, out of the room can all compete for those items on the auction. You can do obviously a live appeal and connect with the audience. There's small talk, there's networking for those that are in the room. And the con would be some people would be like, I don't need to show up. I can bid online. Online supporters are not part of the action socially. And once the bidding is over, there's no additional interaction for those that are online. So you decide where that balance is.
So how do you do both? Well, let me give you an example, Lori, of one way we did that, which was Northwest Justice Project's Jubilee for Justice. So we decided to do an in-person and an online event. And you can see from these pictures, we had a pretty heavy tech AV team on our side, which was great. They were in the room and they actually broadcast the event live. The folks at home were watching in real time, and they were actually participating in on the action. So not only did the MC, you can see her in the front of that room on the picture on the left. Not only did she engage the people in the room, she was also engaging the folks online and at home. And we also had something unique. We called them chat cheerleaders. So we had people in the chat who could interact with people. So as people were asking questions, as people were chiming in, this person who was from the organization was chiming in too, answering questions, saying, thank you, Lori, for being part of this event. And what a great comment that is. And that really made the people at home feel like they were part of the event. And one of the reasons that we did this, and I don't know if any of this resonates with some of you all who are watching, is that this organization needed to do this event in this way because a large part of their supporters are across the state. And so it isn't just one city and one place. And so they really wanted to be inclusive. And this was one way not only to be inclusive, but also to be accessible to a large majority of their community.
And that's a great question to ask our audience here. Is your community tight? Is it in a 5-mile radius or is it spread out? We would love to know the answer to that so that we can kind of take a deeper dive into that if we have times during the questions and answers.
Yeah. And then this is another example. This one is a little portion of the online. This was a large gala. This is for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Puget Sound. And we had a great event with over 400 attendees. Also logistically challenging. We coordinated over 14 vendors. We did mobile bidding with this, and we had some online components for bidding as well. And we used some interactive pieces, both in person and online. So again, it was a little bit less of that, tech heavy way because it was online. Some of the pieces were online, but it really did pay off. And we had our highest revenue raising year ever with over $850,000 raised. So big event, incorporating some of the online pieces. And when you are thinking about doing a silent auction, if you want to go to that the next slide, you are possibly doing those paper bid sheets, which is great. We use them all the time. But if you are going to do that online or mobile bidding component, one tip that I have for you is that, and it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more bandwidth, is do a separate QR code for every single item rather than having it take you directly to the auction, the general auction online. It should take you directly to that particular item. It will make your online bidding go much higher because people aren't now scrolling through and having to go. So that has really helped our bidding, online biddings. And it's just a little simple tip. And I know it will take a little bit more time, but it will pay off in the end.
It makes sense. You're either going to print off a printed bid sheet or you're going to print off a display page. You're still doing the same transaction printing activity.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So we talked about the types of event fundraisers. Let's go on to the make it fun part. Yes, no matter the mission, the fundraisers that are fun are highly attended and reach higher goals. I'll go with a very simple formula. Fun equals engagement. It really is that simple. Happy people are more likely to open their hearts and open their wallets. When guests are having fun, they feel more connected to the experience and your mission. And the more engaging and enjoyable your event, the more likely they are to bid and donate and participate. So how do you make it fun? We brought along a couple examples, but in summary, you want to create interactive moments like games and raffles and live challenges. Use the energy and the excitement in the room from the stage with music, lively auctioneers, a great MC, dynamic speakers, keynote speakers. You want to foster connection in the room, encourage social interactions, storytelling, mission-driven moments, volume up, volume down. When the volume goes down, people lean in. The more joy you bring to the event, the more generosity you will inspire. And when guests leave, you want them to be a raving fan. Here's a couple ways to do that.
So I love a theme, Lori. Themes are fun. And it's a great way.
Can we ask the audience if they've had any themes in the past that
I'd love
worked
to hear.
or didn't work, or they're going to change again?
Yeah, it'd be great to hear any kind of fun things. I'm going to share some really fun pictures, but we like to use a theme to attract your donors. Just what you were saying, getting people to the event, getting people excited about the event. It's also just a great way for your event to stand out from the crowd. People are going to multiple fundraisers. So if you can be memorable, that is definitely going to be helpful when they want to come back the next year. I also recommend that you do use an event theme strategically. And I'm going to show you what I mean about that in just a few minutes. And then, of course, I am always mindful about budget. So we only work with nonprofits. I get it. You are stretched thin and your budget is tight. So you don't need to have your theme break your bank. You can keep it within your budget and you can get creative. And the thing we want to do is we want to create that fear of missing out, create that FOMO, get people wanting to attend and wishing they had attended if they missed out. So one of my favorite examples is this theme that we did with Alice in Wonderland. It was a really fun theme. We incorporated some really unique ideas. This was for the Hospice of the Northwest Foundation in Burlington, Washington. We had characters. We had the Mad Hatter. We had Tweedledee and Tweedledum on roller skates. We had the Cheshire Cat. And then, of course, Alice herself. It was one of the organization's most successful and popular events. They have done this event year after year after year. And in the guests' minds, this particular one, this theme really stood out, and we raised a lot of money. And back to Lori's point, we had music, we had some fun theme ideas. We really made it a really fun event. Here's another example. This is for the Medic One Foundation based in Bellevue, Washington. And this group loves a theme. So this one is an example of a 1970s theme that we did. We did a disco party. We had a dance party afterwards with a disco ball, the whole thing. The supporters really enjoyed getting dressed up. You can see everyone was kind of really decked out. But here's the thing: we had Tina Turner too. Don't forget Tina Turner. We had her perform before and after. But the thing that I want to remind you, and this is going back to thinking outside the box, getting creative and not breaking your bank. We did another event with Medic One Gala where we didn't just do a theme that was based on some kind of a cool idea. We really took the Medic One theme and their mission, and we made that their theme. So we took the color of red because red is their color for their logo, and we really leaned into it. Everything was red. And then we really made paramedics and firefighters the center of the event. So you can see the picture on the left. We brought an actual ambulance into the venue. And people could get inside of it. They could see how paramedics work. They could see the equipment. It was a great way for people to connect with the mission and understand why they were there. On the second picture in the middle is we actually got the front of a fire truck face, and that was the podium for the event. So again, really a fun way of bringing that mission to life. And then that third picture, we had entertainment, we had the singing, we had the engagement. The backdrop for the event was an actual picture of a fire station in Seattle that we took, and we turned that into the backdrop. So you don't have to come up with a crazy theme idea to make your guests excited. Think about what your organization does and lean into your mission, and then come up with a creative theme idea that connects your guests to your mission. And then one more idea, as I mentioned about that FOMO, creating that fear of missing out. This is a fun way of doing this within social media. So what we did is we had a local celebrity. This is Mark Wright, who's a local celebrity in the Seattle community, and this was for Easter Seals of Washington. We asked him to create a promo video, and he created a heartfelt message just about why he was connected to Easter Seals, how excited he was about being the MC for the event. And then we sent that out to the Easter Seals community. So again, getting guests excited about attending the event, but also those guests who are like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't signed up yet. I might want to go. And wow, Mark Wright's going to be there. So again, you all probably have no idea who he is, but in the local community, it's exciting. And it could be a board member. I mean, sometimes your board members are local celebrities within your own community. So think through how you can create that FOMO in creative ways that, again, is going to be within your budget.
And Gisela, you can probably repurpose that video over and over and over again once you have that from him talking about how much he cares and how his heart throbs for the Easter Seals, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome.
And now we're going to go into our next thing, which I think everyone's really going to want to hear about. Right? We've got some great ideas on this one, and that is event revenue boosters. Because that's the key, right? We want to figure out how to boost your revenue. So the first one is admission tickets. And remember that an admission ticket is really more than just an entry. There's a lot of creativity you can have around your admissions tickets. So obviously there's the standard tickets, general admission, whether you do that for groups, maybe it's a single ticket, maybe it's a ticket plus one. There's tables, there's VIP tables. There's sponsor tickets. There's just a lot of ways to be creative when you are selling your tickets and offering exclusivity, offering perks, especially for like a VIP, whether it's reserved seating or whether there's some special gifts. And then the biggest thing for what we recommend is definitely using your tables as your entryway. So tables, they don't have to be a discount. For a lot of years, we were having clients, sell a ticket maybe for $100. And then a table is $800 for a table of 10. Why are you reducing the price? Nope. A table is $1,000. Maybe a table's more because now we've given you a full table. So that adds a little perk to it. So we sometimes will just increase the price point. So again, thinking through your admission levels and admission tickets and how you want to do that. When you are, this is an example of a fun creative page on Auctria. You want to be creative. I do want to encourage you to make sure that you are looking at your state and liquor license requirements. But if you have done that and you can do this, we like to do some add-ons. Perhaps you are adding on a specialty wine at your table. So we've done that with VIP tables. We've done that with regular tables. There's a wine add-on and there's 2 bottles of wine that show up at your table and they are a specialty wine. Doesn't cost the organization much, but it is, again, it can be a large add-on for somebody who's like, I don't want the house wine, I want something special. So again, great way to add that revenue boost. And then just another little tip is I really want to make sure that you are asking your guests about accessibility and also asking for any restrictions that they have, whether those are meal restrictions, things like that. We just want to be really welcoming when you're selling your tickets. This is a time to just be able to be that hospitable and make sure that when they arrive, you've thought through their needs. And that's a ticketing page is a great place to do that. And then another revenue booster, and this is a huge one, and that's sponsors. I imagine most of you do get sponsors. Hopefully you do. And sponsors can be a key to basically underwriting your entire event. That's a possibility. It does take time. So if you haven't thought through a sponsorship strategy, it's never too late to start. It may not happen for this year, but it will, that investment that you put in there can pay off in the future. When you're looking for sponsors and you're finding sponsors, you're looking for businesses that are connected to your mission in your local community, or you're connecting to your board members who are connected to a business. So it has to be a connection that is meaningful, a business that's meaningful to your organization. I do have clients who are like, let me ask Amazon, let me ask Microsoft, let me ask Starbucks. You really aren't going to get them to sponsor unless you know the vice president or someone really, really high up in one of those organizations. So it's okay to think small. Go ahead and start small. A first-time sponsor who might be sponsoring you for $500, maybe even $250, could be a much larger supporter in future years. And then it's really important to create those multiple giving or benefit levels. We like to think of sponsorship as a partnership. So you want to create those multiple levels that are meaningful for sponsors, for those businesses that are going to connect directly to you. And then Lori and I both like to say that sponsors beget sponsors. So sometimes when your local real estate agent has sponsored, guess what? Their competitor just saw that. And now they're like, wait a minute, I need to be in on that. Why is she sponsoring or he sponsoring and I'm not sponsoring? So again, use some of that, not only that competition, but ask your sponsors for who they recommend. Is there somebody else in their community or a connection they have? We did an event where one of our biggest sponsors, they were a very large sponsor, they offered to bring in additional sponsors. And that was huge for this event. That was really one of the biggest things they did. Aside from giving money, that was probably even more important, was bringing in those additional sponsors. And then once you have sponsors, please treat them well. Please remember that it's important to show your appreciation. I know you're all appreciative, but sometimes we forget to show that. So whether it's a tiny little perk that you give them or an exclusive experience, just make sure you carry that through. We're all the bandwidth is very limited in your organization. So just make sure if you make a promise to them that you keep that promise to them. That's really important. And then just remember that sponsorships aren't about funding. They really do create those long-term partnerships. And that's the important piece. This is an example of a sponsorship packet that we have created for a client. One of the biggest, I think, key and critical tips that I can give you is brand your sponsorship packet to your organization and not to your event. I have clients that wait and they want to create the perfect sponsorship packet based on their amazing theme and their amazing event. That's all great, but the sponsorship packet isn't about your event, it's about you. So brand it to you and use statistics, use information, use quotes, use things that really connect with your businesses and your sponsors so that they connect directly to you. And I can't stress this enough. I'm going to repeat myself, but a sponsorship is a partnership. So be flexible. Just because you have a gold and a silver and a bronze level doesn't mean that if Auctria wants to sponsor, you aren't going to create a completely different level for them and do whatever it takes to make them happy within reason, of course, but that will work and keep that partnership alive and for the long term. So partnerships and sponsorships is not a one size fit all. Just remember that.
Awesome. And I know we're getting close on time, but I do want to make sure that we hit all this information for you so that you have something to take home. We want to talk about in-room revenue boosters. We want to diversify the giving people, different ways to give for different reasons. Not everybody engages the same way. Some people love the thrill of a competition in games. Others prefer a guaranteed impact. By offering a variety of fundraising opportunities, you can ensure that everybody finds a way to give that resonates with them. So let me just start off quick with some gamification. Yes, there are local and regional regulations. You have your org's bylaws. Make sure you understand them and review them. Check the box on that one. This discussion is about fun and implementation and how to engage guests, boost participation, and maximize fundraising success. Here's one example. It's a golden ticket for a golden raffle. It's a premium raffle option that leverages the scarcity principle, kind of like we were talking about with tickets, to drive excitement and participation. Unlike a traditional raffle where it's, tons of tickets and they put them in a little bucket, these are golden tickets. They're sold at a higher price point with a limited quantity available, making them more exclusive. The appeal, guests recognize the high value of the prize and the better odds of winning. So in this example, I've got a $500 Amazon gift card, $25 a ticket. Only 100 tickets are available. Get yours now before they run out. I'm going to have a gross revenue of $2,500. The $500 Amazon ticket will bring me down to a $2,000 net profit. Here's where that sponsorship comes in. I can even have the raffle be sponsored. That way they're underwriting that prize and 100% of the proceeds go directly to the charity, maximizing that impact and engagement.
And I'm going to talk fast because I have a lot of fun examples coming up. But yes, gamifying is a great way. Again, back to that fun, back to that engagement. We love to encourage games at our events. They're a great way for guests to have fun and be excited, but also to increase the dollars at your event. Here's a couple of fun ideas. On the left is the ever popular wine toss. And on the right, we took that a little different direction. We did a paper airplane toss. And people had to take an paper airplane. The actual line to get closer got closer and closer as the night went on, so we wanted people to win. But they were winning wine, so it's a similar theme on the wine toss. But the key is the reason we picked paper airplanes, as you can see on that board, that a paper airplane was their logo. So again, bringing it back to you. So it's not just a wine toss. They are actually soaring and, putting that paper airplane through. It just connected all back to the mission. And then this is another great example. This is a fun wine pull. I know you guys are seeing the theme of wine in a lot of our events. But we package these wines into these beautiful boxes with light up rings. And I got to tell you, Lori, the wine itself was valued between like maybe $15, maybe $20 a bottle. We sold these for $100, and they flew off the shelves. I mean, people were like picking these because of the box, because of the little, I don't know if you can see it from this picture, but each of the top of the box had a glow ring, and the ring was flashing, and people were walking around all night with these boxes and loved them. So again, you can do things that are creative and gamify it that way. And then Dessert Dash is my next example. This is probably one of our biggest revenue enhancers, and some of our events, we are making between $5,000 all the way up to $25,000 for Dessert Dash. If you don't know how it works, it's really simple. You have the same number of desserts as you have tables. Each table has a sheet where you bid collectively as a team. So if you're all sitting together at the table, you're all bidding on a dessert. The table, and then we take those bid sheets, we put them in order. The auctioneer MC calls that order out very quickly in increments, and the first person that wins gets to dash for dessert. So again, we're raising lots of money. It's so fun. People are rowdy, and it is, as long as people don't slip with their desserts, it's a good night. But we have made a lot of money on dessert dashes. And then paddle raise is something I really want to spend just a couple more minutes on, because this is really the most important part of the night. I hope that all of you are spending just as much on a paddle raise as you spend on all the other pieces of your event. And it's the most impactful. So it really needs a lot more of your time and attention. Make sure that you are thinking through what your levels are. Think through matching opportunities. If you have people who aren't in the room who've given in lieu of attendance, then make sure you take those dollars and create some really fun matching opportunities. I have so many ideas at different levels of how to make it fun and energizing. The paddle raise is sometimes can be a very somber moment. Maybe you've had a very, very tearful tearjerker video right before it, so people are crying, but you can also make that a really fun element, because again, your whole community is coming together, and this is a time when they are giving a transformational gift. They're not buying wine, they're not buying an auction basket, they're not buying a trip, they are giving money to you. And that's where we really want to encourage you spending as much time as possible and thinking through ideas on the paddle raise.
Awesome. And when we talk about the donations, make sure that you're not using just some random rounded up number. Think of it from the donor's perspective. What is my donation actually supporting? In this example, the donation levels were carefully calculated to show the real impact at different giving levels. So at the $1,000 level, you're helping create mission-driven videos for social media content. At $10,000, you're funding a major home improvement for accessibility and security. When donors understand the direct impact of their gift, they are more likely to give. So you can put that information on your website. You can put that information into your paddle raise. Moving on quickly to some peer-to-peer fundraising, because we want to jam all this in here so that you have the info.
So peer-to-peer can be a really great way to do it in terms of doing something that's quick and easy. I won't say quick and easy, sorry, just impactful, but less costly. And right. So I do have an example of one, and I think that Auctria does this really well. It's not something you'd probably think about doing a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign on Auctria, but you can, because look at this. We created what we called virtual ambassador fundraiser pages. Each person had their own page, and you can see when you click onto the page, they've got a thermometer, they've got the levels that people can donate, they've got a picture of themselves and a little short bio. This was for Potlatch Fund, also based in Washington State, and this worked really well for them. In fact, we had some of our ambassadors actually change their amount raised. You can see on this one, this was a really successful one. She raised $11,000 just on her own. So it was a very impactful way. And again, if you aren't able to do that online component, you don't want to do an auction, this is a very simple way to at least get your pages in there and get people working for you to raise those dollars.
And it doesn't have to be individuals. It can be about community. All three of these establishments were proud supporters of a cause, and they agreed to some friendly competition for a Circle of Friends cook-off. And here's how it worked. Local restaurants participated in the event. They helped promote the fundraiser in advance. Guests donated to vote for their favorite chili, and the business that raised the most was crowned the Changing Futures Chili Cook-Off Group. This event did more than just raise funds. It energized attendees, engaged local businesses, and strengthened community ties. An absolute win-win approach that boosted donations and awareness at the same time. Because if you go back to what I started with, it's raise money, raise awareness. And fundraising events aren't just black tie. I saw some earlier questions about that. Gala, not gala, community events. What else can we do? Golf tournaments, cornhole, pickleball, tickets only. Sales from the website you can do for a full team, just like you're doing for a full table. You can do a full team of golf teams or of paddle race teams. You can sell fan tickets, and tournaments aren't just for competition. They're for a cause. So the tournament game winners are proud, but the real winner is the mission. And it goes on and on. Bikes as art auction items, Art Reach annual charity, paints bikes, they donate those off. NHL player worn jerseys and milestone pucks. You don't have to be a professional organization in order to do those. Holiday time, trees are decorated by influencers, local artisans pair with charities. People stroll the town, bid on a tree, vote on their favorite. It just goes on and on and on. However, don't be intimidated because events grow over time, right, Ghazala?
Absolutely. Remember that your event it's going to be a long haul. It will grow. I love this little image of the seedling coming into a flower here. It's really important to create that strong foundation, set your goals, set your budget, and most importantly, I say this over and over and over again to my clients, what is your why? Why are you doing your event? How will you measure the success? Knowing that before you go into your event is probably the biggest impact on being successful. Because if you know your why, you're going to be able to get there. And you want to make sure that your event connects with your community. You are selling tickets to your event at your next year's event at the event you're having right now. And so it has to be impactful. It has to be connect with your community because they're going to want to come back the next year.
Awesome. And if you're trying to figure out how are we going to do this systematically and methodically, it's kind of why we're here. Auctria is an easy to use platform. It's powerful. It runs all types of event and auction fundraisers from your first donation. We are going to try to pop over to the lounge, answer some more questions, talk about and give away a couple passes to the experience giveaway. Auctria is a proud and featured sponsor for this event. We're all about helping nonprofits raise money with less stress. I have a 28-page mega guide, some sample procurement letters, links to articles and webinars. And all of our webinars are always free, open to the public. Ghazala and her team has come on our webinar stage plenty of times. And Ghazala, these are some resources for you, correct?
Yes, we would love for you to subscribe to our newsletter. I know I explained Dessert Dash very quickly, but we also do a blog. And our blog page is awesome. If I do say so myself, we've got a lot of great articles and you can really go through and we tell you a lot about how to do some of the things we talked about today. So please click on that or scan that QR code, subscribe to our newsletter. And then on our page, I also have I think on the next, we're going to share some of our socials. Both Lori and I are very social, if you can't already tell. If you follow us, we will follow you back. And especially on our website, if you want to book a call, a 30-minute call, please feel free. Always happy to chat about your event. Like I said, we plan events across the country. So if there's something that if you're stuck on a question or you need something, always open to just even answering some questions. So hopefully we'll hear from you and we'll see you in the lounge in like just a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. And we know we're up against the clock. Ernie, will you be able to give me these questions and answers so that I can send an email back to everybody and kind of answer them?
Yeah, so you'll get the questions, they can follow over to the lounge. So
Awesome.
just because we are at time, But great presentation. Thank you all so much for this. I know the chat loved it all. It was excellent. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get that lounge open for you. But thank you so much for presenting, for working so hard and making this presentation. It was very informational. It was awesome. And you can see in the chat that everybody loved it. And on a scale of 5 out of 5, it's definitely a 5. So thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Ernie. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
All right. Well, we're gonna 10 out of 5. Look at that, even better. So we're gonna get them added over to the lounge. For everybody else, keep hanging out here with me so we can get the lounge open. And you can head over there to get your questions answered. So